Hiya, and welcome back to the Finch Keeper. This part is about the software design of the Avian Manager. Now, I'm going to be doing a few short videos of this just to keep you updated. I didn't really do this on the last project I was working on, which was the Gordian Finch Information Pack. That was actually free software. This one is not going to be free, unfortunately, because of the amount of work and time that's gone into it, and the amount of ungrateful people out there that tend to download, don't leave a comment, and they just they just take and don't really have anything else to do with it. I did ask for some people, well, many people, just for comments, just to let me know what they thought of the program. They didn't want to know, so this one's going to be a little bit more hard-nosed, I'm afraid. Anyway, I'll go into what it's about. I have seen many Avian managers online. I've downloaded pretty much most of them, and I've seen many of them in action. They didn't seem to offer what I wanted. I mean, I'm not going to slate them and say that they're rubbish, because some of them look quite good actually, but they were very limited on functionality, what you could do with the program, and they didn't offer the functionality that I wanted. So I thought, well, why not design something for myself that I want, and that way I wouldn't have to waste money on someone else's product that didn't offer me what I was wanting in the first place. I'm just about to get bombarded by a load of little birdies in here, so I'll try and get this done before they all decide to come in. Anyway, I will explain how this all works and what it's for. Now, it's not all complete yet, so I'm going to make several little series as I progress through the tabs, and as they become completed, I will do a video on each tab so that you will know what it's for. The first one is being finished for a while now. The whole shebang is all done. I'll go through it and explain how it works and what I've done. Now, the only thing down here I'm not sure about is the cock unit ID for the parent and for the parent birds. I don't know whether to make them live or not yet. I don't know, but I'm going to come to that later. That's not important. Generally, it all works. It has been mean tested, so I don't find any errors or anything like that. No bugs or nothing. So, right, this is all live search. So if I wanted to search for a bird, if I type 1111, there's a bird, but if I type an extra one, there's nothing there. Now, I've left that one like that deliberately. Just for the video, I'm going to use simple numbers instead of using complicated stuff like that. I'm just going to use 1111. So there's nothing there. If I want to add a bird to that, and I can go down and put something like Joey. It's just a common name. A hen. Let's just say that this has a closed ring, and we'll just put an ID number, and the leg band size would be C. Previous owner, no. But if I did have a previous owner, if there was a previous owner, I could put their name, their phone number, and their address if they wanted to give it to me. That was not everybody who's parted with their birds want to give you their details, but it's only optional if you want to put it in. You never know, in case you wanted to know where the bird came from, and if you needed to contact them for any other reason, maybe you wanted to buy more birds or get information about the bird itself, some of the history. Then you got the species, of course. Let's just say, for instance, this is just for the video, so let's just say it's a Gordian. Left the caps on. So it's a Gordian Finch hybrid. Let's say no. I'm going to copy that. Let me, if I can copy that. Copy, and then reared by. Just say it's parent reared. None. No disformities. Vital status is still alive. If it was, so it won't let you put nothing there until you put deceased. They become active. It allows you to put the date of when they died and the cause of the death. But for the video, we're just going to say it's still alive. Retained means that if you still got the bird. So let's say yes. If you chose no, you'll be able to select the date that you that you sold or gave the bird away. Obviously, if the bird had died, you know, that would be retained. So of course, no, you would, that's the only thing. If I've put deceased, I may change that so that's blocked, obviously, because you're not going to retain a bird that is deceased. So that's the only thing that I need to change. So you've still got the bird. So let's just say if you knew the hatch date, so you could enable that, and then you can select the date when it hatched if you knew when it did. And same for the fledged date as well. So you could change that, the date it fledged. The parent cock parent hybrid. It's no, hen is not hybrid, no. So we can just put unique ID for them, and then we can just say, I don't know, 7 cock species, both Gordians, and then notes. Let's just put no notes to add here. Okay. Of course, you can insert that. Yes. Right, now that bird was successfully saved to the database. I noticed there's something missing. Okay, let's do, there's no photograph. So let's go and add a photograph. And let's just say we wanted to add that one there. There you go. It's done that because the actual photograph on the computer is recorded sideways. It's not because of if I was to load it up in like photo viewer, it will come up on the side anyway, so that's why. I mean, I could do it the other way around, but it doesn't matter. It's just for the video. Now I want to update that, and yes, now it's been updated. And if I search 1111, it now remembers all the information with the new picture. So if I change that picture again, let's just say I wanted to use that one. No, let's go and put a different one on there. Let's just use a blank one for now. There we go. And then we'll update. There we go. Right, now if I want to do that and search, it's remembered. Okay. And again, you can edit any of this as well. You can put anything on here, whatever changes you make, it will make at the same time as you update it. Now, when you search all records, there's your new bird, Joey, hen, close ring, there you go, and all the information on that bird. See, Gordian finch, it's all there. The only things that don't show up on here are the notes and the photographs. There is a reason for that. It's because when you add the photograph, it tends to throw the layout out, and I mean, it would just be too big. It would come all the way down the screen out of the box, and it just becomes messy. So I just thought it's simpler like that. And if you add the notes, it's just, well, I just didn't see the point in it really. I mean, and you can search here as well, so individually. So if I wanted to search birds by name, if I just type in Joey, you should find, there you go, it's searched. And you can search by anything, leg band type, you know, whatever you've stored in the database, you can search like that. And you can also if I go there to all records, and you can also organize them by clicking the top column alphanumerically, so it sorts them all for you. Right. If you're not sure how to use this and you want a little bit more details, if you click the little question mark, and that will give you the guide on how to use it, what it does. And you may be wondering why you need a unique ID when the bird's got, your birds may have a name. You think, well, I want to search them by name, but that's all well and great, but for the software it wouldn't work, because if you have 2 birds with the same name, or even 3 or 4, over the years you may have several birds that would have had the same name. Now the computer doesn't know that, they just assume that it's the same bird. So if you give each one a unique ID, you're thinking, well, how can I remember a unique ID for each bird? We don't have to. You just type the unique ID in, and then you can just, you know, you just search all birds, and then you can see, you can type the name in if you want to, put the bird name. If you say, for instance, you had a bird called Joey, or you had several birds called Joey, you type in Joey, and then you'd have several Joeys turn up with different IDs. then you can find the right ID for that bird, and then you can put the ID in there, then you can get the information up. And that pretty much concludes that anyway. I suppose if you wanted to, like, that just clears all your fields. It doesn't delete it. So if you type in 1111, it's still there until I've actually deleted it. So if I delete, there you go, it's deleted. Right, I'm going to move on to the breeding plan, because I've been working quite hard on this as well. It's not quite all finished. We've got this tab, which is what I will be working on next. This one hasn't been started. Now, this is quite complicated from what, although it looks very basic, it's very complicated underneath. If you type in, for instance, this is the hen, this is for the cockbird side, and this is for the hen. So if you try looking for a cockbird over here, it says no cockbird with the ID. Check your spelling. But if I go over and check for 222 there, it'll find it, because this is looking for males, this is looking for females. Now I know that here, I know that this is a female. And if I go to create, if I wanted to create a breeding plan, it says please select an enclosure type, because I haven't selected anything down here. So we're going to say we're going to put that as a cage number, I don't know, 88. Placement is going to be indoors, it could be outdoors obviously. And I'm going to breed in pairs. And then I'm now going to create my table. There you go, it's saved. Now if I go to search plans and search, there you go. Now I'll put 2 in there for now. These are just temporary. There's the male and there's the female. There's the cockbird ID and the female's ID. And if you go right to the end, you can see that the session is open. Their breeding status, they're actually now at classes in breeding. So if you try to breed, if you try to create a new breeding plan with either the cockbird's ID or the hen's ID, it won't let you. It won't let you create the plan, because it's still, because although they're there, the breeding plan status is open. Of course, you can see, if we go back to the beginning, her plan, she was bred before, but her plan is actually closed. So you're allowed to breed her again. You can't breed, you can't have a bird breeding twice at the same time. So it's allowed for that. You can again, like the other search, you can search all other things on the other ways, other columns. Now, of course, there's stuff on here which isn't on the other search, which was on the adbirds, because when you add your breeding plan, it's allowing you to add things like, well, all this here, which we've just done, the colony type, whether it's pairs or colony, and you'll be able to save like the average temperature of your breeding season. So when you've had those birds in a room or outside, you can record the overall temperature. You know, was it, I think you just add them all up and then work out the average, and then that's what you put down. So if it's, it also does the conversions for you. So you don't know between centigrade and Fahrenheit. It doesn't matter. If you put it in Fahrenheit, it will work it out for centigrade as well. So, and then if you put it in centigrade, it will do it vice versa. So you'll get both. It will do the measurements for you. And the same with humidity as well. The average humidity would be something like, overall, it's usually around 60 or something like that anyway, but that's measured in percentage. And then you've got, as soon as you've done this, as soon as you've entered the breeding season, if you notice, it's already added the start date, because the start date is already, which is the moment you add it, and it's added because it's open. That should be today's date, yes, which is the 1st of the 9th. Okay, I don't know why it's back to front, but it is. It's there. I may check that actually in a bit. Let's have a look indoors. Yes, I'm just checking. Right, I've forgotten where I was. Yeah, right. It hasn't added an end date because the season's still started. You're still in the breeding season. So when you go to close it, which will be from this tab up here where it says modify plans, when you click that, you will have options later where you can close the session, their breeding session, and then it automatically adds the end date. And on that tab you'll be able to add things like the total eggs that were laid from that pair in that session, how many eggs hatched, how many chicks fledged. There's no point in putting things like how many eggs were laid, how many hatched, how many died. It's just pointless, because if you've had 6, say for instance you've had 6 eggs laid and 3 eggs hatched, obviously 3 eggs didn't hatch, so something's gone wrong with them. They've failed to hatch, so they're dead. So it just seems pointless adding another tab to put in. It's just more junk for the database and for you, really. So I've kept it very simple. It's the same with fledged as well. How many chicks fledged? There's no point in saying, well, we've got 6 chicks in a nest and 5 of them's fledged and 1 died. Well, what's the point of putting 1 died? Because if only if you had 6 chicks in a nest and 5 of them fledged, obviously 1 didn't because he's just died. So it's pointless for adding that on there. So I've kept the database simple for that. When they do, of course, say I've allowed up to 10 because it is possible that you could get 10 chicks. Not for most finches, but this isn't just designed for finches. This could be any type of bird. Some birds do, like wrens and blue tits and great tits. Some of those can have up to 10 chicks. It's been known, even more. So this only allows up to 10 though. I mean, if needed, I could add more later, in an updated version. But then you can add the chicks 1 ID, which when you add the ID, it automatically adds it to the breeding plan. The My Birds, and then you can go in later and update it with a name if you want to, and photograph and all the other information. So that helps begin the family tree, which is something I will come to later. Of course, after this session has closed, you can note down whether the cockbird became sick, whether the hen became sick, did the cockbird die, the date of the death if the cockbird did die, and the reason for the cockbird's death. Of course, I'm going to need to widen this so that you can see everything on here, so that needs a slight adjustment. Of course, it's still in development, so these little things will be ironed out long before you get them. And of course, the same with the hen. Did the hen die? The date that she died and the reason why she died. Of course, you got the nutrition, supplements. The nutrition would be it's just what vegetation and soft foods and the seeds that you've given them, such as egg food and stuff like that. Have you given them any supplements? You'll be able to, you'll be able to add if you've given them any supplements and what supplements you've given them. Were they treated for anything? What medications were they given and what it was for? And if there was something on there, that it wasn't, that's not listed here, that you weren't able to type in, and you think, well, I wanted to add this and that actually, but there's not a section for it. So I've left notes. So there'll be a section on there for notes where you can add those extra things. So you can keep notes of what else happened during the breeding season, whether you moved cages around, whether you moved them from indoors to outdoors, etc. So that plan can be changed while it's opened. And then, of course, there'll be an option on there to close the plan, which is where it puts the end date and closes the thing, so you can allow it to breed again. So if you put another breeding session on there, you can, you may have up 3 breeding seasons on there for 1 bird, or a couple of birds. You may go down 3 times. That way, you'd have 3 entries into the database here, and that's basically that. So if I go back to there. Well, that pretty much covers that anyway. Of course, I did want to show you something else. It's nothing important, but it's so for instance, you get the data. It works on both as well. Let me just use that one again. Right. Of course, if you might be thinking, well, what's all this on here for? Well, the reason being, if you wanted to keep all the information about that bird, you just right click or select all and copy. Again with that, select all, ooh, select all. There you go. Should have highlighted it first. Right, select all and copy. There we go. You could actually copy and paste it to a text file in case you wanted to. I mean, I could do a little thing where you just print it off, but it just seems pointless. I think it would be easier just to copy it and paste it to another file, so you keep the details of the bird that you're breeding. But I didn't really see the point, because if you've got it on here, when you've got it on here, if you've got all the information on here anyway, so it will come up every time. So all you need, I mean, this is a good little search box anyway. So if you wanted to search out a particular bird, doesn't mean to say you're going to breed them, but you could still you could still use that as a physical search and get the information on them. Basically, you're getting the information from here. So anyway, this part here hasn't been done. This is the health history. This is where you can keep a full history of your bird's health. Have there been any sicknesses and things like that in the past? And how it will work is on a timeline. So all it is just a long line where, you know, with dates next to it, and you can skip through and you can see, what illnesses it's had or health issues it's had and what dates it was. And each bird was searchable. You can search them by, you can just list up a bird and then check again by their timeline. And it's the same with nutrition as well. That will work very much the same way. Nutrition is basically just the food that you've been supplying them throughout their lives, really. And it's all, again, soft foods, egg foods, seed, anything that they just generally eat. And of course, there was one I think that's gone missing. That was for medical. I suppose that would probably come onto the health. We'd probably put the medical stuff on there. Treatments and stuff would come under health history. I think I'd probably done it like that just to keep the tabs minimum, because you don't want too many tabs on the side. There will be one more added, and that's going to be the family tree. That will come up at a later date. That's where, as you add your birds, you'll create a family tree automatically. It doesn't. You don't have to create the family tree. The computer will do that for you. All you have to do is put in your bird's ID, and then it will just find the whole tree for you, and you can go back as far as you want. Of course, the profiles will be a combination of all of this. So you'd have like your bird's photograph, the name, the date it was born, how many chicks in total it's had over its lifetime, how many times it's bred, things like that. It will just have everything on the bird. This one here, certificates, will basically be a combination of all of that above. So that if you're selling a bird or giving a bird, I've always believed that if you're giving, if you buy a bird, you should be given a certificate. So you have some general information about the bird, about its history, how many previous owners it's had, what the health's been like, what it's been brought up on, how many times it's bred, how many chicks it's had, when it did it fledge and stuff like that. And I like to know things like that. And I think anybody else buying your bird, taking your birds from you would like to know that anyway. So there's a little certificate that you could print out for the next person who takes your birds on. Miscellaneous is just that's going to be for just miscellaneous stuff, really, such as links to support groups and things like that, information, maybe links to places where you can buy trusted products and stuff like that. It's not really an advert. There won't be no ads on this at all anywhere on this software. There's there's no harmful things added to it, like adware and stuff like that. I just don't believe in anything like that. I don't think it needs it anyway. I don't see the point in it. I don't get paid for advertising or anything like that. So for me, it's just no adware or nothing, no viruses, no deceptive stuff on here. What you see is what there is. It's as clean as they come. So I want to keep it that way. The database manager is where you can back up your databases, because there's not just one database, there's going to be several of them. So you've got your birds database, your breeding plans, your history and your nutrition, and of course your certificates and your profiles and stuff like that. And of course you're going to want to back these up as they become larger in size. And then of course you're going to want to restore them, maybe if your computer crashes and you install the program again. When you install the program, you may want to restore your previous databases to their original form, so that you can carry on as normal. So that's what that's for. Of course, you may want to clear or delete the database, or even rename it, I suppose. Not that it really matters. It just gives you full control. We can edit stuff within the databases, I should imagine, but we'll see how that goes anyway. And of course, the last and not least is the About Manager. I don't think I need to explain that because, as I said, I think it's self-explanatory. I mean, it's just telling you that it will be a little screen telling you what the software is about. And I don't know if I did say, but up here I will be adding what you've got here, this little question mark for the help and that. I'm going to add the same thing there, but for this section and this and this and all that. So all that will come under the help section there. So I did want to say on this before I moved on, if you try adding 2 birds that are deceased to a breeding plan, it won't allow you. It will not happen. It's just not going to. It's not going to allow you to add any birds that are deceased, because if I go to, let me just clear that database for a minute. You won't need this. Is not part of your software, so we'll remove that. Right, changes. Just remove that from the database. Breeding plans. Search records. No, let's go and find another bird. Quickly do this. Let's see if we can find one. There we go. There's one there. So that is Genty hen. So that's A12B. So if we go down to a breeding plan and so if we put A12B, and then again we'll set these 2 up as if let's just pretend we've got the male there and the female here. And notice if you go down here that the hen is actually classed as deceased. Right, let's try and set her up as a breeding plan. Right, create. You are about to add your breeding plan to the database. Hen is listed as deceased. Please select a living bird. See, it automatically knows if you've selected a living bird or whether it's the bird's deceased. And it also stops you from, you cannot add a bird to the database for breeding if you no longer have the bird. So where is it? Let's go down and have a look. Retained. See, if that retained said no, you get the same message. You can't breed a bird that you no longer own. So it stops it. It stops you from breeding them. So I have thought of everything that I can for this, but there are still little things I discover, even as I'm watching the video, that I need to adjust. There are a few little minor adjustments that I need to make, but other than that, we're pretty much there on this now. But I'm going to start working on this part next, so we can modify the plan. And like I said, this page will be full of all the stuff that you'll get here, and a few things more, maybe I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And I don't want to overload it with too much information. I mean, I can be here forever, programming and adding all these features, and it just takes longer to get the program out there. And I've tried to keep this as simple as possible, nicely looking and easy to use. So, but I am open to ideas as well while it's still in development. So if somebody wanted an extra feature, that if you wanted an extra feature that's not on there, you only have to say, send me a message or something, say, look, could you please add something like this? This is something I want, to have on my software. And I'd think, okay, if it sounds good, I'll put it on there. I mean, it's not too hard to do. I can do that, but I want to keep it relatively simple, so I can get the software out there quicker, and the quicker the quicker is better for me and probably better for you. So, because this is becoming quite a tedious little job. But anyway, I'm gonna end this video now, and let's close that. So, as you can see, that's how most of the programs start for me. Just a blank piece of paper, and then it just ends up miles long with loads and loads and loads of text. But anyway, I'm going to end this video here, and I shall hopefully come back at a later date. See you later.